Well, who can forget the Beatles? Who can forget the British invasion of the 60s, for that matter?
Can't forget it. Well, now a whole new generation as well, Ruth, as our senior citizens can enjoy the Beatles music in a new form. The story when Live at 5 continues. Her tune.
You know I love you. I'll always be true. So please love me do. Say that something. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand.
The British invasion has made a comeback in America this week. This time, though, it's in the form of CDs, compact discs. That's right, the Beatles are now on CD, and as Wendy Lubavitch reports, old and new fans are flocking to the record stores.
Love, love me do. You know I love you. I'll always be true. So please love me do.
Back in the early 60s, these Beatle fans had never heard of compact discs. They were busy buying 45s and LPs. But now, some 20 years later, Beatlemania is making a comeback. And the mood and music of the era is being captured for all to hear on this little disc. At the Wax Museum in Dinkytown, Beatle fans put in their CD orders weeks ago. And it's not just the original fans. The compact disc age has brought a whole new crop of Beatle fans. When did you get interested in the Beatles?
Well, several years now. I mean, obviously, I've always sort of liked them. Recently, I've really wanted to acquire them since I heard they were going to be coming out on disc. So I've been waiting, counting the days, and today's the day.
And all 4 albums are being released on CD. And buyers might be surprised to find out that these are the British releases. They contain songs that were not included in the American versions.
It was 20 years ago today. Sergeant Pepper taught the band to play.
Next month, more Beatles CDs will be released, and by the end of the year, a dozen will be available. John, Paul, Ringo, and George, for so many a symbol of the 60s, have entered the 80s and a whole new generation. For Live at 5, I'm Wendy Lubavitch.
All right, a little trip back there.
Still ahead, a milestone for the rock group that spearheaded the British rock invasion.
Good thing the kids are in bed, huh? The group, the Beatles, they enlisted the help of a Lonely Hearts Club band sergeant to help conquer the American rock scene 20 years ago tonight.
Lonely Hearts Club Band, we hope you will enjoy the show. Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, sit back and let the evening go. Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, we hope you will enjoy the show.
Well, it doesn't seem possible, but it was 20 years ago today that a new Beatles album with an unlikely title hit the record rack. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band was a kaleidoscope of sounds. Didn't look anything like that videotape. It was an instant hit with the fans.
It was also the anthem of the so-called Summer of Love, and it established the Beatles as musical Pied Pipers whose influence is felt even today. This morning on the 20th anniversary, a new CD version of the album appeared, and local record shops report a steady business. Alan Cox looks back at the album and the people who are still listening 20 years later.
It was 20 years ago today. Sergeant Pepper taught the band to play.
I kind of remember back to when it was on the radio every day, all the time, and just good times, just not so much the responsibilities that we have today.
Responsibility. For Capitol Records, it's a responsibility to the owners to enhance profits by releasing the compact disc at a time it can be promoted with the album's anniversary. For a Twin Cities woman who arguably could have been called one of the biggest Beatles fans in the world, it was responsibilities of another sort that led her away from the group she loved. Barb Fennick ran a 1,500-member Beatles fan club spread around the world. She and fellow fans published a newsletter that drew on her reminiscences of meeting the stars. But last year, another fan club took over hers. Barb's Beatle room will become a bedroom for her son, the memorabilia packed into a trunk.
And I kind of reached the peak of that. I did it for so many years. I said everything I wanted to say. I love the music, but I don't get real excited by the anniversary of each separate release. I get excited more about personal events when they came here and played in 1965. Because I saw that, it means a lot more to me.
The concerts. There were no more in this country after Sgt. Pepper. The Beatles disbanded within 2 years. But the memories are still strong for one of the area's leading music promoters. Owen Husney began in a 50-style band. Like so much else touched by the Beatles, it changed.
The Beatles broke mindsets, and in an area that we all work in, the area of creativity, it's very important to break mindsets. It was just one of those things that, all, as we say in the business, just came together beautifully. It should happen to all of us.
The craze is gone, but the CDs promise to keep the Beatles fresh for new generations and available to older ones. Alan Cox, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
Most record stores in the Twin Cities are selling the Sgt. Pepper CD for about $13.